everybody, welcome back to MEC-TEC. This is getting a bit of a habit now, starting videos in a little C1, isn't it? So today we are off to my mate Dan's house again, and we are going to be working on his three-wheel van. This is the one that you would have seen quite a while ago that was electric, and we're now converting it back to petrol engine again. Now he's done a fair bit of prep work on this, obviously since we was last there, since we got all the electric stuff out. And today hopefully we're going to be getting the engine in and possibly not driving but getting it running. We can't get it driving yet because he's going to do a little bit of modification to the clutch, because it's an 850 engine that we're putting in this Regal. Originally they were a 700, and the 850 has got a slightly different clutch setup. Now you can modify the bell housing to make it fit the 700 setup, but he's decided that he wants to do it a slightly different way and either use a cable or hydraulic slave to push the clutch. So that's going to be obviously in the future, but today the plan is just to get the engine in the van and all the seals and whatever changed on it, and obviously see if we can get it running, probably off an external fuel source for now because he hasn't got the fuel tank in there yet. But should be a good, hopefully a good day's work, and hopefully by the end of it we'll have a van with a running engine again, so that'll be nice. I'll come back to you when we get there. Rightio, we're at Dan's and the van is out in the open in the sun. We're going to be working out here today because it's nice. We just pushed it out from the garage in there. Now there has been quite a bit of progress on this little van since we was last here. All the little bits that you probably wouldn't normally see. Now obviously normally there's not a big hole in the back of a van like this, but because this had the batteries in here and we took the battery box out, it left this hole which we've got to obviously fix the floor on. But it allows you to see that Dan's got two of the fuel tank mounts in there. He's got the other two made up here, so they're ready to go in. He's got a nice stainless steel exhaust to go on it, which is going to be nice. So he's got those two welded in. He needs to get the other two welded in, and obviously the tank can be hanging in the back there. That's everything at the back, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Going round to the front, hang on, try that. Going round to the front, let's go in here actually. He has got down here the clutch hole re-drilled for the pedal and the boot mounted, along with the boot already on the brake pedal, or was that you done that as well?
No, that was already on.
That was on there. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't touched that. It's
He's
the clutch one.
Gotcha. He's fitted the high-low switch for the main beam, and he's also cut out the hole for the gear shifter to come back through. That's the plate for it on there. We've got all new switches. These switches over here, the three that you can see around the washer and all that, are all new. You'll see those from the back side in a second. That's everything in there, isn't it?
Yep.
Mazda MX-5 seats, they've got to be screwed down yet, but this is the main area obviously that the work's been done. Now you can see those switches I was just saying to you about there, all nice and shiny, so they're all new. That wire there is the wire for the dynamo, which obviously is now going to be an alternator. So Dan's done away with the regulator and he's used one of these connection blocks, and he worked out all the wiring, and it all feeds back to that original wiring over there, so that when the alternator's on, it can be plugged in via the original wiring and feed the battery and obviously power the van at the same time. He's mounted the fuse box on there and the coil, which has all been redone. New battery and new battery tray has been mounted in there. It's a slightly bigger battery than what would have been in there originally, and you can just see in the corner there a new wiper motor which is in there, and that is out of a Rialto, so that is actually a 2-speed wiper motor. So if he wants to, he can add some extra wire and have it as a 2-speed motor on a Regal. You can see the battery in there. Obviously all the wiring's all been nice and tidied up. You've got the what do you call that?
Start solenoid.
Start solenoid, that's it, yeah. And laying up here, which he's got to screw down, is a new flasher relay for the indicators. I think that's all. Oh no, down here the cross member has now had these rad mounts reattached. He's made a new one for this side, and I had one luckily off of mine when I was doing mine, so he's welded them back on, and he's give this a nice coat of POR 15, so that is all nice and protected and ready for the engine and rad to go in. So it should be, oh yeah,
new wiper arms.
New wiper arms as well. They're off of a Mini, you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
They've got nice new wiper arms, and obviously he's fitted all the linkage up to these now as well, so they're all working because there wasn't any wipers in this before. So that's all good to go. The engine, as you can see, is over there on a trolley. So the order of business, I think, is going to be get it cleaned.
Clean up first, yeah.
We need to take the gearbox off and change the release bearing, because we've got one of the ball bearing type ones to go on, bearing type ones to go on rather than a friction one. Got to do front and rear main seals on it. Rocker gasket cover, I guess, seal.
Yeah. Water pump.
Water pump.
We need to fit the drip tray for the carb.
Oh yeah, there's a little drip. What's that go under this side?
I think it goes under here where this gasket is.
Okay, so there's a drip tray that goes on there, obviously for dripping. So we've got to fit that. We may have to change this gasket because we just put this on there before when we tested this engine out to make sure that it was obviously running all right and whatever else. There'll probably be various other bits and bobs that we're going to have to change on it at some point.
Give the sump a clean out.
Oh yeah, take the sump off, give that a clean out. We've got a new gasket for that as well. So it's going to be a fairly productive day, hopefully. So we'll get a bit of progress done on this engine, and we'll cut back in when we've done some more. See you in a bit. Right, we're just unbolting the gearbox. Go on, Dan. See what happens. Hey, lovely.
Easy.
The reason we took that off now is so one of us can clean the engine and one of us can clean the gearbox, because obviously, as you can see in there, it's pretty well, it's not too bad actually.
Not too bad
compared to Justin's one that we did.
Yeah.
That was absolutely mullered, wasn't it?
I'm going to change that bearing as well.
Yeah, that's the carbon bearing in there. You can see it's actually got some chunks out of it, look.
Oh yeah.
We've got a roller type bearing to go in there for that, so that'll be good. Obviously you can see the clutch and everything on there. We'll obviously inspect that while we've got it off, and we've got to take the flywheel off to do the rear main. But for the minute we're going to be doing a bit of cleaning, so we'll get this two cleaned up and then come back to you in a minute. Right, got the clutch and flywheel off. As you can see, there's the rear main. It doesn't look too bad, but we're going to change it obviously anyway while we're in here. Dan said he thinks someone may have been in here before because there's a little bit of red seal around the edge of it, but we don't know whether that's factory or not. So, but anyway, so we're going to get that cleaned up now. Flywheel and everything looks in pretty good condition. So yeah, good to go. Let's carry on. How about that then? That looks mega compared to what it was like before. Spent probably, how long have we been cleaning this? An hour? Don't know. Dan's walked off. But you can see there now, it's like brand new inside. Really, really good. Well chuffed how that's come out. All the way over. Looks lovely and clean. And you can see the engine, same. Obviously the rocker cover needs painting. We haven't done the sump yet because we're going to take the sump off to clean the inside as well. But the rest of it has come up really, really nice. We used diesel on it, believe it or not, and then some traffic film remover after. It's come up absolutely lovely. So the next step now is going to be to swap out that clutch release bearing, swap out the rear main, and then we can get the gearbox and the flywheel and the clutch and everything all back on and get it all back in one lump again. How long have we been cleaning this, do you reckon? An hour?
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, lovely jubbly. Let's carry on, and when we've got a bit more progress we'll come back to you again. And just got the rear main seal out of this. Look at all the gunk that came out of that hole. It was only in that little recess there, but it was a right old mess in there. So we've got the new seals to go on here. It's just giving that a clean out with some WD-40, and then obviously we'll tap the new one in. Then we can get the flywheel and clutch back on. Then we can get the, as you know, before we put the gearbox back on, we're going to get the flywheel on, and we're going to take off the front pulley on this side, which obviously we need to clamp the flywheel to be able to hold the engine, stop it turning, and then we can get the front seal in, then we can put the gearbox back on. So it's all going on, it's happening slowly but surely, lovely jubbly. Right, new rear main is now in, went in a lot easier than the DeLorean one did. So that is all good to go, lovely jubbly. So we are on to flywheel now, and then clutch, then front main, then gearbox back on, then water pump, I guess, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah? Lovely jubbly, let's carry on. Right, got the flywheel back on around there. As you can see, we've got a pair of clamp grips on it. Dane's just putting the clutch back on. I've just got the front pulley off, as you can see there, and it is a bit manky behind. Obviously we're going to change this seal here, so get that popped out. Obviously we'll give this a clean up because obviously couldn't get to that when the pulley was on. Get a new one in, and then we are on to gearbox and water pump. Let's carry on. Right, we've just got this water pump off. It was a right pig to get off. And look what's inside there. That is proper murky. So we're going to see it going down, see if we can scratch on that. Oh, that little screwdriver. Now.
Looking good, is it?
That's not ideal, is it? It might only be around that housing though.
Depends if
And obviously
once
you get some water in there and it heats up, it'll obviously free up a lot of it, won't it? And you have to just flush it through a few times. It's only that little bit in there, I think, hopefully.
We might be lucky, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to
wonder if we could pump some water through it as well.
Yeah,
no
could
pump
do.
on.
Yeah.
Like through one of these hoses or something.
Yeah, do that, can't we? Yeah.
Flush it through, mightn't it?
Put a hose pipe through it, a bit of pressure, flush it through, wouldn't it?
It's worth a try, isn't it, before we give up with it?
Yeah, so we're going to give this a clean up. The reason we took the water pump off now is because we need to get this casing off, because this bottom pulley seal is not coming off for love nor money, so we're going to take this casing off. We've got a new gasket for that anyway, so we're going to take that off, knock it out from the inside. But we had to take the water pump off to get to this bolt, so that's going to be the next job after we've sorted out this cleaning in here. Come back to you in a bit. Right, we've got a hose attached to the engine. Dan's going to switch the water on and we're going to see what's going to come out of this. Go on then, Dan. Oh, look at that colour of that. Actually, it's not too bad, to be fair. It cleared up pretty quick. Look.
Load them up, come out of it.
Not really. Only out that initial bit where it was in there. That's all clear. It's a bit of a washout in that bit, but the rest of it looks okay. I'll dodge to put it there, son.
Depends what's around the liners though, doesn't it?
Yeah, if that's running around like that though, that's pretty good flow, isn't it? We're going to let this run for a minute and obviously clear out any gunk that comes out, but by the looks of it might be alright. Come back to you in a minute. Right, Dan has just been working on this a bit longer and we've had it flushing through, and he found that there was a load of crud on one side of the liner. He's actually used a metal ruler and gradually worked its way through and all the way up, and he's managed to get it right up to the fourth liner at the other end now. And obviously it's getting a lot more gunk out of it. As you can see, that water's now turned brown again where it was clear a minute ago. So you can see how far that goes in. Look, she's using a hammer to just tap that in gently just to get it so that it knocks through, so it clears the way around the liners. So it's really good that he's done that. Obviously we can only do this on this side, we don't know how close they are on the other side, but it should obviously aid with the cooling quite a lot and obviously get a good flow around it again. It's been pretty clear apart from obviously where we've started knocking out crud out of this. All the water came out clear, so we're hoping that it's, and also the liners do look in reasonably good condition on the inside from what we can see at this end anyway. So I reckon we'll be alright with this, hopefully. Really luck. He's going to keep working it a bit more and then we'll hose it through again. In fact, I've got to go and switch the hose on now, so I want to go and we'll come back to you in a minute. I'll do it if you want. Right, I'm going to go and flush this, switch the hose on, flush this out, see what comes out of it.
Yeah, a little bit more come out.
Yeah.
Not massive, but
It's worth getting the engine back now. It's pretty well. It's filling up with water a bit more, going around a different way might help. Yeah. Coming out pretty clear, isn't it? It's probably not the most orthodox way of cleaning that your engine block, but it's working. It's bad. Isn't it? Right, we're going to do a little bit more of this and hopefully we should be good to go. Come back to you in a minute. Right, we've now got the front crankcase off, as you can see there, and Dan's cleaned up all the surface with his whizzy wheel and a drill. Got the old front main seal out, so we need to tap the new one of those in. It's just cleaning up the threads on the water pump studs at the moment, you can see there. We flushed it through about 3 or 4 times both ways in the end. We put the old water pump back in the hole and flushed it backwards as well and got all the gunk out we could, and there wasn't that much to be fair, so it was pretty good. So he's just cleaning those up. We're going to get the new gasket for the front cover, get the new, well, we'll fit the new front main seal, then we'll get the new gasket for the front cover put on there with a bit of RTV as well, just to make sure it's double sealed. Then we can put that cover back on, put the front pulley back on, then we get the water pump on, and then we're onto the gearbox, and then hopefully we put it in the van, won't we?
Reckon.
Lovely jubbly. And we've got to change that oil filter as well before it goes in the van. Let's carry on. Right, we're just draining the oil out of this now. As you can see, we've got the gearbox on there, and no, we haven't got the front cover back on yet, have we?
Not yet.
No, we're just doing it. Dan's just doing that now. I'm just draining the oil. We put a new oil filter on as well. But we're going to change the oil anyway, so we thought, well, we might as well drain it while it's out, and it makes it that little bit lighter when we put it in the car, or in the van I should say. So yeah, good progress. Let's carry on. Right, we're at the stage now where it's virtually ready to go in, everything is on, but these manifold studs are really manky thread. So Dan's going to try and weld a nut on the end of one of them, see if we can unwind them out, because he's got some new ones ordered, so this is obviously a lot easier to do when it's out the car, or out the van I should say. So let's see how this goes and see if we can get these out. Sounds good. Yeah. Lovely.
Neatest, but it might be a job.
No, it doesn't have to be neat, does it, mate? As long as it's on there. So I'm just going to see if this unwinds it now. Hopefully it will. Or not, as the case may be. These are proper in there, these manifold studs, so it's moving.
No.
Find a little file just to file that weld. Oh no, there you go, it's better. We're gonna obviously see if we can keep going with this and see if we can get these to unwind, and obviously come back to you when we've had a bit more progress. Right, it is actually about, how long later, Dan? 2 weeks later?
2 weeks.
About 2 weeks later. Dan's had a shave, look. And we ran out of time last time we was here, so we're carrying on today. We're on this manifold, and we have come to the conclusion that these are an absolute pain. We've gone through 3 of these manifolds now. There's another one down there, and I've got one at home. And for whatever reason, the stud that is captive comes out fine because the corrosion can't get to the top of the stud. The stud that is open from the back rots in there, and you cannot get it out for love nor money, or we haven't been able to anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to drill this hole out, clearance it to 8mm, and then we're going to get a nut and a bolt and basically nut and bolt it through. Put the nut on this back side here, bolt straight through when we put it in, and that'll bolt the exhaust up nice and tight, and then we'll have a stud on this side. So it'll have one stud and one bolt, and that should do the job just fine. So Dan's just going to drill this hole out. We'll get that all set up. We've got to file the back side. Where's the other one, Dan? Just so I can show him. Dan's been practicing on this other one, and you can see he's just filed the back out flat so that the nut sits in there nicely, like that. And obviously when you put the bolt through, then it can pull it tight. Does that stop it turning as well?
Yeah, it just sits against that.
Oh yeah, look, there you go, it sits against the flat edge, that's perfect. So that is going to be a good solution for that, I reckon. So yeah, we're going to carry on with this, and we'll come back to you when we've got it back on the engine. Right, there we go, Dan's had a little file up on the side of that manifold. Nut fits nice and flat against the side of it now, nice and square in there, and that will bolt up, absolutely lovely. Let's carry on. Oh yeah. Right, we've just had the compressor on just to get all the dirt off this engine, and while we was waiting we've just drained the gearbox oil out. Some of that oil in there was already in there, but it was pretty manky. We've got the drain plug and the fill plug out. Actually, do you want to put the fill plug back in if you're going to pour stuff in it and straight at the bottom so it doesn't come out the sides?
Slope pour outside.
Pour it outside. Alright, yeah. What we're going to do is going to take the gear stick off, and we're actually just going to pour a little bit of diesel in the top of the gearbox, which doesn't sound right, but because it's like a bit oily, we just want to flush through any gunk that might be in the bottom of the gearbox. So we're going to do that, and I'll come back to you when we're at the stage where we've got the top off and we'll pour it through just to see what comes out. Right, I've got the gear stick off. As you can see in there, it's a bit manky to say the least. Now Dan just said this engine came out of a Rialto and it's sat for a while with no windscreen in it, so we're wondering whether it's got water down the top of the gearbox somehow or another. So that's why we're going to flush it through a little bit of diesel. We left the drain plug off, as I say, so it comes straight at the bottom. Do you want to Hang on, put that down there. And I'll get sat here. Right, you ready to? Yeah, I'm ready to pour some in if you want to. See what it comes out like. Good bit of stuff that diesel, and it cleans all sorts.
So we used to clean up the whole engine, didn't we?
Yeah. It's not too terrible, is it? It's pretty clear coming out of there.
What I'll do, I'll put my finger over it, fill it up a bit.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So double fill here, and then we'll let it come out. Obviously, once it's a bit more full, so that it cleans it all as it goes through. Is it worth turning the shaft around so that it spins it all through? It's obviously cleaning it all round. Should do it the world of good, that. Got to do this with mine as well.
Yeah, it's suddenly got easier to turn.
Is it?
Yeah, really.
That's mad, isn't it? Yeah. That must have been proper gunked up in there then. Cool, yeah, I can see the difference now you've turning it, yeah. That's amazing, isn't it?
I suppose all the gears were coated in it, weren't they, before?
Yeah. Lovely. Lovely.
Trying it out then.
Go on in, let you on it.
Not too bad, is it?
No, it looks alright. Looks pretty clear, that. Alright, that's done that the world of good. Leg one had done any harm, will it, as I say, because diesel is like almost like a very thin oil, so that's spinning over there lovely now. So we're going to carry on. We'll get the drain plug and the fill plug, or rather get the drain plug put back in, and then we'll refill it with oil, and then we should be good to go with that side of things as well. Then we can get the manifold and everything bolted back on, which is now up there on sitting on the van waiting to go on. Cleaned all the surfaces up on that, I'll just show you quickly. Cleaned all the head up on there, cleaned all the ports out, same on these, cleaned both of these out, and all the heads are nice and faces nice and clean, rather I should say. Dan's got the one stud in there, and as I said before, we're going to use the bolt on the other side, so it should be good to go. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, the van is now up in the air on blocks, and the engine is underneath also on blocks, and we've also got the engine crane now set up there as well to obviously start lifting from the top end. And obviously we've got to guide it in because it doesn't go in square. You have to put the front end of the engine up high first, feed it onto the mounts at the front, which are these two prongs here, and then obviously then you can work it over the gearbox mount, or the rear cross member at the back where the gearbox is. So that is going to be the next job. We're going to crack on and get this hopefully in the next half hour. Woohoo! Let's carry on. Right, the engine is in the hole, as they say, on the two cotton reel mounts at the front there. We've currently got it just wedged on the back end at the moment, just because we've got to get the mount under there and get it on, but it's up in there anyway, so it's not going to go anywhere. So that is, as we say, lovely jubbly. So we're going to carry on, get the back end mounted on, then we get the prop shaft in. Let's carry on. Right, as you can see now, we've got the van up on all three wheels up on blocks, and we have got the complete stainless steel exhaust system in there, as you can see, right the way down, propped up on a jack, and we've got a or rather Dan's got a welder mount on the back here because the mount is unfortunately missing where it used to go on, so he's just made up a little tab there, and that's going to mount on underneath here, somewhere under there, like that. And then it has a rubber strap that goes in between the two. So you're just going to get that welded on, and then we can get the exhaust hung on there properly. And that is another job ticked off the list. And while I've got the welder out, I think he's going to try and weld these tank mounts in as well. And now it's on video, you can't not do it.
That's true, yeah. I'll have to do it now, aren't I?
Yeah. Right, let's carry on. Right, the exhaust is now done. There we go. Look at that. Nice bracket welded on there. A rubber strap holding it underneath, so it's got a bit of give and no vibration going through the body. It's all really solid. Now, we was going to do the tank mounts next, but we're both getting a bit excited to get this started. So we're going to see if we can get a few more things buttoned up on the engine. Hopefully go for a first start. We'll come back to you in a minute. Before we can get this engine started, we've got a few more things we've got to do. As you can see there now, I've got the sump off. And we just wanted to obviously cut this off. We'll clean the rest of the engine. We didn't clean the sump, as we said earlier in the video. There is a little bit of sludge in the bottom of it. Not horrendous, but obviously won't hurt to clean it out. There's no metal or anything in there that we can see, so that's good. So we're going to get that cleaned out. Dan's just sorting out a little bit of wiring. I've got to fit the alternator on there. In fact, I think we're going to try and run it without the alternator to start with, but Dan's just doing a bit of wiring, so we can obviously try and start it from the key. There's a couple of little bits we've got to do inside there, so we'll come back to you when we've made a bit more progress. Right, there we go. That is the sump completely clean, as you can see there, and it is actually red, which we didn't realise at the time. But there we go. So that is all the sludge cleaned out, all the mating surfaces cleaned up. Dan's under there now, just finishing off cleaning the bottom side of the engine. As you can see, that's all been cleaned up lovely. What did you find just then when you went, oh, all stuff on top of there?
A load of oil sat on top of there.
Oh, right.
That's all off now.
So that's all good and clean and ready to go. So we're going to get the new gasket and sealer onto the sump, and then we can put that back on, fill it full of oil, and hopefully we might be able to get it to start. Fingers crossed. Let's carry on. Right, there we go. The sump, as you can see, is now all on. Nice and clean, all new sealer, all new gaskets, ready to be refilled with oil. Now it is starting to get a few spots of rain out here, so we are going to jump onto the tank mounts quickly while we've got the welder out, so then we can put it all away, and then we can hopefully go for a first start. And I've said that about a million times in this video already, but hopefully we can. So let's carry on. So, last two tank mounts are in, tanks hanging there, top banana, lovely jubbly, all the rest of it. Now we're finally going to start this thing. We've got to get some fuel hose and some fuel, and then we should be good to go. Let me just show you. Dan's just been doing some wiring, and it does now turn over on the key. So that is absolutely brilliant. So as I say, fuel line, fuel, let's see if it goes. We're going to go for a start on this. How do you want to do the fuel, Dan?
Got that fuel. Stick that on the floor.
Yeah.
And that should suck it up into there.
So we've just got a jerry can, just temporary, obviously for now, because we haven't got fuel pipes running down the inside of the car yet, or underneath the car yet. So we've just got that rigged up to the fuel pump, obviously the fuel pump to the carb. I need to be in here to turn the key, and Dan's under there doing the choke and the throttle. If it starts, I'll bring you over.
Right, go on.
Ready?
We don't know for sure, we've definitely got a spark, do we?
No, we haven't checked if we've got spark, we're just assuming that everything works at the moment.
I don't know if the fuel's got in there or
I
not.
could smell fuel, big time.
Like in there?
Yeah.
Give it another little go and then we'll have to check for the spark, I think.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Sounds like it's got spark, That don't sound like it's got spark to me.
No.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of investigation, find out if we've actually got spark. We'll come back to you in a minute. Going to go again. Don't know what happened. We didn't have spark, now we have got spark. So let's see if it works. Then we went.
Yeah, go on.
It's actually that spark plug you took off, surely. That leads. That's not sparking again, yeah?
Nothing, is there?
No. We literally had one spark plug off and it tried to fire. Now we put the spark plug back on again, it's now not firing. Which one did you take off?
Can't tell without looking. Check that voltage again.
Pardon?
Check that voltage again on the coil. I'll put the ignition on. Yeah, it's 12 volts on the coil. That one on? Yeah, it was that one there, yeah.
If I take that off and it fires, it's actually that.
That no.
Something funny going on here.
There's something funny with the dizzy then.
Well, it's got the points. The point when the points weren't cleaning.
Yeah, it's weird 'cause I had it running before though.
That was over a year ago.
Yeah.
Looks like it's over fueling.
Probably. On the other side. Oh, go on.
I reckon have the cap off and clean them points up. That's what I reckon. We're going to do a bit more investigation, we'll come back to you. Right, I've just took the cap off and you can see now the points have got quite a bit of corrosion on them. So we're going to get a little file, run it in there, make sure they're nice and clean, and hopefully that is our issue. We'll come back to you as soon as we've cleaned it up. Right, it's going to be third time lucky. We've cleaned all the points up. They were a bit cruddy. We've checked all the leads, checked all the plugs. So, fingers crossed, it might go this time. You ready?
Yeah, go on.
It's not sparking, is it?
No. We'll just check this king lead is on the coil. Hang on, I've got something to try.
It's not even firing now. It was firing before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Need to check it.
Make sure the coil's getting the ground through that distributor that it is. The points must be closing then. Measure. Is the ignition on? Right, I'm getting volts on the coil, so crank it over.
Because when you do something with that coil, it fires. Like when you join something up with that meter, it fires. Almost like it's getting power through the meter. You try it again. See, nothing that time. As soon as you probe that coil, it comes on. Ready? Go on. Or not. Yeah, the points are working because the volts are flashing up and down on the coil when you crank it.
This is that coil.
There's another one.
Oh, right, the DeLorean one, I don't know if it's any good or not.
Right.
The resistance is correct, but it might do for a quick test, mightn't it?
Yeah. Right, we'll come back to you when we've got this rigged up. It's just swapping over the coil for another one. We're going to see if that makes any difference to it. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
That's cool, isn't it? Or not?
Go on. Go on.
Yes! She's a runner! Oh, it's definitely that cool then, isn't it?
Got to be in it. We'll go again.
Ready?
Yeah.
How'd you get it to go before?
Give it some choke.
Still giving it choke?
I'll take it off now. Try it again.
Yeah! I think you need choke on it for a little bit longer.
Go on.
That engine sounds good. Keep it going, Dan. Grab the camera. Oop.
Doesn't want to rev.
Doesn't want to rev. Right, after a bit of playing about and dodgy connections on the coil, we are running. Sounds good. Let's go around the back and get a shot of the exhaust. Go on, Dan. Sounds really nice. I like the way that exhaust sounds. That ticking over on its own? Got the choke. No, got to have a bit of choke at the moment, so the carburettor settings are obviously not quite right.
Oh, it's cold.
Or because it's cold, yeah. But that's
Don't want to wait too long, but no coolant.
no coolant on it. But that sounds like a nice little engine. That we've got fresh oil in it. Obviously, you saw us all clean it all out and whatever else. That sounds really good.
Go on, knock it off.
Knock it off, right. I call that a win. Dan?
I think so.
Top banana.
Top banana.
Brilliant. We're going to do one final start and see if it ticks over. Do you want to tick over?
It might need a little bit of choke.
Want a little bit of choke?
A little half a choke or something.
Let me see, hang on. Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Look at that. Purring like a kitten. There was definitely a fault with this coil. Now Dan's going to get a new coil because there was these two terminals on here, this one and this one, were both actually loose underneath the rivet, so we cleaned them up, tightened the rivets down, or banged them down I should say, and it secured it, but obviously it's not right, so we're going to change that. But that sounds really, really good. That's a restart after about, how long was that, 5 minutes of being off I suppose, maybe 10. But it did actually tick over on its own after, didn't it? It did really tick over on its own. No, not quite. They're not. Once it does get warm, it does actually run on its own without the choke, so that is absolutely superb. Top banana. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode of MEC-TEC. We've done what we've set out to achieve. We've got the old van running on petrol again, no electric here. We like petrol and it's lovely and running and nice and smooth and everything else. Well, not nice and smooth, but it's running at least. So yeah, there is obviously other things to do on the van. It needs some fettling, it needs some finishing at the back as far as fuel lines and tank and whatever else, but we've got the mounts in there now for that, so that's going to be done. So it is coming on. Hopefully, if we see this van again on the channel, which we probably will in the near future, it will be running and driving down the road with any luck. So fingers crossed, the rest of the project goes fairly speedily. Now, if you like what you see, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button down there and ring the little notification bell. Also, I have got Instagram, MEC_TEC 1985, and I have got Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all that's left for me to say is if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.